local history, local culture, local events, your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Captain Michael Harrington is our guest. The good captain is in charge of the Salvation Army at 14 Clinton Place. Of course, this time of year, we're going to be talking Red Kettle. We'll also talk some of the history of the Salvation Army and how that Red Kettle got going. And we'll talk about some of the services being provided up at Clinton Place, which are a lot. But before we do any of that, we're going to say welcome. Good to see you again, Captain.
Good to see you, Joe. Yeah. Thank you for having me on again.
Well, we should have you on more than just at the beginning of the holiday season because your work goes on all year. But this is where it really gets kicked off, does it not?
Yeah, this is our most visible campaign of the year, right? The Christmas campaign that encompasses not only our Red Kettles, but our holiday assistance effort as well.
We'll talk about all that. Is the Red Kettle, are they out there now?
We have a few locations that are open, and over the next few weeks, we'll be opening more.
You told me before the show, Hobby Lobby, is that one of them?
Hobby Lobby is one of our locations, great location.
Mm-hmm. And they're open now. It's really not a question of having locations for Red Kettles. It's a question of having people to ring the bell.
Yes, a lot of hours to fill, a lot of volunteers needed to help fill those hours, and that's the struggle. And over the last few years, we lost some of our brick and mortar stores, so we have less stores, less locations to raise. But there's always a need for volunteers this season and year round.
Yeah. The money that was raised last year, off the top of your head, do you recall how much the Red Kettle campaign did?
Yes, we did just under 70,000. I think we did 66,000 last year. So we had a goal of 70. We just missed it. Our goal again is 70,000 this year. And of course, we always like to do more than that. Mm-hmm. The need is great. And that money we raise not only helps us during Christmas, but helps us year-round to fund programs like the soup kitchen, the food pantry, our community drop-in center, and a variety of our youth programming.
If you don't make the goal, if you make less than 66, if you make 60, what happens?
Well, it definitely makes it hard to provide services, so we need to take a real look at what we're trying to accomplish and how we're going to accomplish that. And sometimes you have to make tough decisions, but we're looking at the positive side. We're going to go in hopeful and just put our best effort in and believe that God is going to take care of us.
And when you say, I guess I'm the negative person in this group, but if you say tough decisions, does that mean cutting services?
That's always a last resort. If we don't make our goal, we'll look for alternative measures to find that cash and that funding to continue to provide services. We never want to, the services we provide are some of the emergency, I call them safety net or basic needs. People literally depend on these services to feed their families, sometimes just a hot meal or a warm place to sit, a cup of coffee. They're so necessary for what we, our people, some of them are very fragile. I shared a story with you earlier about a gentleman who is suffering from addiction this morning, and literally we saved his life.
Yeah, talk about that, how that all developed.
Well, this morning is like any other morning. We're making breakfast and we're providing a warm place for our population's most vulnerable, homeless individuals, a lot of them, and some of them are just couch surfing, maybe not sleeping outside. But we open our doors every morning for this group to come in
and when those, let me interrupt you. When that group comes in every morning, what can they avail themselves of?
So immediate is, especially now that the temperature is dropping, to get warm, right? To access a warm place to sit. They're able to get a cup of coffee. They're able to get food. We give them a meal. And from there, we're able to engage them with other topics. Some of them need shoes, socks, clothing, jackets. But it even goes beyond that, just a basic need. We have other partners that come into our drop-in center, and they provide primary care services. So if somebody is suffering with an abscess or even just getting a flu vaccination, you can get it right at our building. We also have mental health services come on site, meet with people. We have peer recovery advocates that come on site and encourage people who might be contemplating and going into a treatment or a recovery. So we're looking to meet them where they are, get them comfortable, build a relationship, enjoy a meal, and then from there we're able to engage and try to get them into some much needed services.
And when you went in this morning, you found what?
Well, I had a gentleman who ran to me and said that we had somebody dying in our parking lot due to an overdose. And at that time, I ran out the door, but on the way, I told our program coordinator to call 911, and we had Upstate Family Health Center there with us today as well. So we were able to administer Narcan and bring this gentleman back to life.
When the fire department got there, the 911 services got there, what did they do?
Yeah, so they evaluated him, but the gentleman was unwilling to go to the hospital against recommendations, of course. Just because you bring them back for that time period, there's a danger of the Narcan wearing off within the hour or so and possibly a overdose. But he didn't want to go to the hospital. A lot of times they just, the whole, when they wake up, it's more commotion than they're ready to take on. We had some that we same situation who would gladly go. This case, he wouldn't go, but he knows that we care about him. We are still there for him. We're trying to engage him to try to get him more help.
Is the Narcan, is it Narcan or Narcan?
Narcan.
Is that what the county is handing out to businesses?
Absolutely. So we are part of the Save the Life campaign. The county has been, really innovative, and I know other communities, they're in the forefront and doing great things on behalf of those who on opioid overdose response. And the task force has been doing great things. So, thanks to them, we have kits in our building. We're able to give kits to people who are around people who are using, who may be able to save a life. And then the county even took it a step further and is trying to get it in the stores and businesses because people could potentially overdose anywhere, sitting in their car, having a cup of coffee in a convenience shop, literally anywhere. So the more accessible they are, the more safe that our community will be.
When we come back, we'll talk some more about the Red Kettle campaign. Captain Michael Harrington is our guest. He's with the Salvation Army. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Captain Michael Harrington of the Salvation Army is with us up on Clinton Place in Utica. And this is it's always a busy time up there, but this is especially busy because they are trying to raise money to get them through the entire year, not just through the Christmas season. Goal is $70,000. They just missed it last year. Hopefully they'll make it this year. If somebody wants to volunteer to ring a red kettlebell, what do they do?
So we have several different ways you could do it. You can go on our Facebook page and message me. We have a new text to volunteer. It's you text 51555, and you text TSA volunteer, and you're able to volunteer that way. Or you can go on our webpage or just call our building. We will get back to you and schedule you to volunteer.
And if I recall correctly, you like volunteers to ring the bell for a minimum of 2 hours?
Yes, 2 hours is very helpful. It helps us, we normally ring about an 8-hour day. So 2 hours is, you're just out there long enough to get cold, and but it's a good pass off, and really helps us. We got so many hours to ring and ask for people to volunteer. We need literally thousands of people to show up, to volunteer to ring. And the volunteers are the army behind the Salvation Army. So we don't provide these much needed services without good people, do-gooders in the community coming behind us, supporting us. The people that are ringing at the kettle stands, they may never see the family coming in for the food or needed shelter, but they are literally helping us get them what they need to make sure that they are safe.
How did, if I recall correctly, you told me the story long ago, the Red Kettle campaign got started kind of by accident out in San Francisco?
Yeah, so an innovative young captain came over from England, and he was stationed in San Francisco, and he wanted to provide a Christmas meal for vulnerable, needy population. And he thought about his time as a sailor, and he remembered the big, huge pots they would have when people were getting off the boat. So he got one of those pots, and as people were getting off the ferry and off the ships from working, they would throw some change into the pot, and he was able to pay for a Christmas meal for about 30 people that year. And it worked, so why not do it again? And eventually the very next year, there was a couple dozen Salvation Army units did the same thing, and now it's across the United States. It's our largest visible fundraiser of the year.
Does the Salvation Army roots go back to England?
Yes, they do. Our founder is a Methodist preacher, William Booth, and his wife, Catherine Booth. And they started out at what was called the Christian Mission. And they went to the Boweries, to the homeless, and under the bridges to preach the Word of God, to help people get cleaned up, sober, bring them into homes, get them shelter, and help people get back on their feet. And we do the same thing today. We just now, we're a little more organized. They organize quickly, and they had a strong campaign in England, and they actually, in Battery Park, there's it's a little plaque statue of Salvation Army coming over to America, called the Hallelujah Lassies.
When did they come over from England?
I believe it was 1890, and it didn't take long. They were in New York and Philadelphia, and before you know it, and we were in every zip code in the country.
Are all the Salvation Army units not governed, but administered by a husband and wife team? Now you have Captain Lena,
Yes.
your wife. She is
Yeah, so often we're stationed, my wife and I are originally from New Jersey, and we felt called by God to minister the gospel and to serve our fellow neighbors. And so they station you in a location after you go to the College for Officer Training. They station you, we got stationed in Utica. We've been here 11 years now. And so they stationed us, husband and wife. Single officers are often stationed with other single officers, because it's hard work, and it takes at least two. I mean, we could use probably more help. That's why we're calling for volunteers. But so my wife and I are ordained ministers. We do Christian education, Sunday worship, music and arts, and really we serve out of the love of God.
And the the denomination that you would be, the Salvation Army, would be closest to? Would it be a Methodist?
It would be Methodist, yeah. So we're evangelicals, non-denominational, but William Booth was a Methodist pastor, so we are very close to Methodism and Wesley theology.
And why uniforms?
Uniforms, for us, this is our outward display of our inward commitment. So we believe, we look at ourselves as God's army fighting for good, and literally there's a war on our people, right? That we believe that there's an enemy, a very real enemy, the devil, and we use the word of God, and we just care and love for our fellow humans. And the uniform signifies that commitment that we made.
Mm. Where did you go to school? Where did you go to seminary?
So we went to seminary at the College for Officer Training in Nyack, New York.
Mm. Is there one in the United States, or are there more than one?
There's 4, one in each territory.
Mm-hmm. And you, I guess it's like anything else, there's a bureaucracy there. You answer to somebody who answers to somebody. Of
course, I answer to Captain Lena first, right? But yeah, so we are up in Utica, New York. We are a part of a 40 corps unit, right? We're one unit out of 40 that make up what we call the Empire Division. New York's a big state, so we have Greater New York, down Manhattan and Poughkeepsie and below, and up here we have the Empire Division, and our headquarters is located in Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
They provide much needed support for us. So.
And you've got a great facility on Clinton Place. You've even got a gymnasium in there. You were mentioning all the things, arts and music. But basketball's another thing you've got up there, right?
Absolutely. Great way to connect with young people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every time I get young people in the building, especially boys, all they want to do is play basketball. So if I could use basketball to speak life and good things into their life, we will do it.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. We'll talk some more about some of those services being provided up on Clinton Place by the Captain Harringtons and their other volunteers. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Captain Michael Harrington is with us. He's with the Salvation Army, 14 Clinton Place in Utica. He, along with his wife, Lena, also a captain, administer all the functions that are going on up there. They are looking for people to ring the bell, the red kettle bell, this holiday season, so they can get to their goal of $70,000. And that $70,000 goes for a variety of things. What's your biggest program up there? Is it the food?
Yeah, I think so. The food and the table is just so important to bring people in, especially with our drop-in center. And then we're stationed in a community that is going through some very difficult times with inflation and the current economic situation. Mm. So you got individuals and families coming in, and the feeding and everything that goes with that, the cleaning, the preparation, the thought, the cooking, the serving, it's a lot of work. So, yeah. But off of that, we're able to springboard into a whole lot of other services.
The right around the corner from you is the Obelston Apartments, and they are doing an incredibly big job bringing those apartments back from what they were. Have you seen something happen to your operation because of all the people that were forced out of there?
Yeah, so a lot of our friends and neighbors that were in the Obelston, it's a good thing. It was difficult, but it was the right thing to do to move people out of there and get them into safer places. A lot of them are in much better situations now. It was difficult during that time, but the population we're seeing right now is just so much more fragile and vulnerable than even that population we were dealing with. A lot of the people that are accessing our center during the day, they don't have homes. They're couch surfing. They were living in the tent city or sleeping on a church porch. And they, now that the weather's getting colder, they're just so much more desperate, right? So even this morning when I walked in, you could see new faces coming in. You could see that since it's getting cold, they're with us all day. So we're building excellent relationships with them and really just trying to make clear paths for them to get help and services.
Do any of the folks that you service in that way end up coming? You have a Sunday service. Yeah. Is it one service?
Yeah, we have one service. We have a Sunday school that begins 10:15 a.m. and we have church at 11 a.m. Mm-hmm. Some of them do show up on Sundays, but we look at everyone who walks through our door as part of our congregation, and it doesn't have to be just on Sunday, right? So we're constantly just loving people right where they are. Even if they don't want to come on Sunday, that's fine. But I could build a relationship. They can know that they're loved and cared about. And so often, I can remember when we first opened to the doors last year, this time for this service, they didn't know me. And it didn't take long for people to understand that we're in it because we care about them. And, sometimes that's a cup of coffee and sitting down and just listening and say, hey, what's going on? And, giving them that ear to kind of work out some of the things that they're trying to accomplish or share some of their burden.
Does the Salvation Army, at your Clinton Place location, do you accept things other than financial donations?
So we collect food. Canned and dry goods are great. Often monetary is good as well. But we're open to canned food drives and, to stack our pantries and those type items. What we do not take is household goods. We do not take furniture. We just don't have the capacity to store those items.
Mm. The kitchen that you have up there, that's a commercial, I've seen it, that's a commercial grade kitchen, yes?
Yes, it is. So we're able to pump out a lot of meals really quick. We're excited. We're going to have a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. So there's a lot of services in our community on Thanksgiving. So we are going to actually have a Thanksgiving dinner in our gym. We're going to set it up really nice, decorate it. And we're going to serve probably about 100 people Thanksgiving dinner that day. But it gives us our chance to sit at the table of fellowship with the community and neighbors that we love.
Do you, at the Sunday services, are you the one doing the preaching?
Myself and my wife, yes.
Mm-hmm. The Salvation Army has also developed a way to do virtual ringing. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we have a virtual red kettle, and you can find it on our Facebook page. But you just click on that and you could give to that red kettle, and you could even ring virtually right there. You could become a virtual bell ringer, which means you sign up and now not only you set a goal, say, hey, I want to try to raise $1,000 for the Salvation Army. You send it to all your friends, family, and contacts, and you're able to help us that way as well. Mm. And it's much warmer, Joe.
I never minded ringing the bell out in the cold, and I'll tell you why. I think that when you're outside and you're in the cold, and you're showing some effort, and people see you, they recognize you, and they see that you're making an effort, they make a little bit extra effort to contribute.
Yeah, it is really a beautiful season. So many stories that when I'm at the kettle stand of people who come up and they share their experiences with the Salvation Army, and just to see the kids being able to give, and it's a lot of fun. It's a happy time of year, but it's a hard time of year for a lot of working families. Christmas can create a lot of stress and anxiety. Yeah. And we're helping those families.
We've only got 30 seconds, but there's a toy component here too.
Yes, Salvation Army Angel Trees. You can find them in Walmart. You can find them in Planet Fitness. We have a few local banks. We just got an arrangement with a group of hotels, and they're gonna have these angel tags, and these tags are written specifically for families and children we interviewed. So those tags, those gifts will go directly to that child on the tag.
All right, good luck this holiday season.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget cnyhomepage.com. There's lots of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.